All right, again, going back to drip irrigation. So, how does it actually conserve water? If you compare and contrast these two pictures, this one is drip irrigation and this one is regular irrigation. So, this one, the water is much more targeted and it actually goes almost directly into the root system. So, it's not spread around over here where it can evaporate or just accumulate in puddles, right? So, it's much more specific. It's much more closer to the ground, so it infiltrates the ground a lot quicker, allowing for that plant to uptake more water and more efficiently. Drip irrigation, we already read this for you. Actually, no, I didn't. I think I got cut off. So drip irrigation extends watering time for plants and prevents soil erosion and nutrient runoff. Also, because the flow is continuous, water penetrates deeply into the soil to get well down into the root zone. It discourages weeds because water is only delivered where it's needed. So not only is it more efficient for water purposes, but it also is helpful to prevent weeds, meaning maybe we use less herbicides. It just really does have a lot of benefits. So advocating for this kind of method of irrigation is very helpful. Also, we can reduce the amount of pollutants released into the environment. So this one right here is oil. Obviously, oil or gasoline, something that doesn't mix with water. A big thing is trash. I don't know. I might do a little bit of the notes with you or talk just a little bit about marine plastic with you, because it's one of the things I like to talk about. But that's water, that's trash. A lot of it's plastic, which doesn't actually break down for hundreds of years, so it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, but becoming microplastic, not actually disappearing at all. Whereas like paper products will go away in a month or so. We could do a science experiment, or you could do one at home where you put a piece of paper underneath a rock out in the soil somewhere, not even buried, just let it lay there, and then after a couple of rains, it'll be gone. Last thing, what can you, maybe the last thing, yeah, last thing, what can you do? Conserve water. So reduce how much water you consume. And I'm not talking about drinking water because you need to drink water to survive, but reduce it like take shorter showers. Limit watering outdoors during droughts. Maybe don't wash your car during a drought or wash your car less frequently. Use appliances that are Energy Star approved, which means that they're efficient, not only good for your pocketbook, but good for the environment as a whole. And then low flow faucets and toilets, so maybe getting some of those household items that are efficient. Those are all things you can do to help conserve the water. And like I said, I will do the marine plastic one with you as well, just real quick, because I think it is so interesting. Marine plastic. Marine plastic, this goes along with the turtle talk that we talked about. Now, there's no notes for this. This is more of just a for fun, for your own knowledge. So, marine plastics results from the addition of chemicals, particles, industrial, agriculture, and residential or marine pollution, waste. This can also be noise or the spread of invasive organisms into the ocean. So, these things are harmful to living things. They're a hindrance to marine activities like swimming, snorkeling. Beaches are often closed when we have pollutants to help reduce the risk to humans, but also a reduction in quality of water, making the water foul smelling, murky in color. So marine pollution is not so great. Specifically, though, we're talking about plastic pollution here. So each year, 300 million tons of plastic are produced globally. Only about 10% is recycled, which means that 90% of it is thrown away, and we know that plastic does not biodegrade as well, or it takes a really long time for this plastic to biodegrade and go back into the soil, whereas our paper products, like I said, do not take as long. Unfortunately, 8 million tons of plastic end up in the ocean each year, which is absolutely not good at all. Plastic can be lots of things. We got a frisbee, a water bottle, plastic bag, an IV bag, lighters, combs. That's a floss pick. There's a picture for you. So there are some parts of the ocean that actually look like this, where it's so full of plastic that you can't see the top. How does plastic get into the ocean? We talked about this when we did the turtles. At any point, a plastic is 6 points away from being in the ocean. So small pieces of trash are tossed into the street or just blown into the street, and they're often washed into storm drains, which are then deposited in the sea, because storm drains either lead to regular freshwater streams, which will lead to the ocean, or sewer treatments, which can also unfortunately lead to the ocean as well, or streams and rivers, which get you to the ocean. Sometimes it's left directly on the beach. So beaches, rivers, and other waterways, the trash just, it gets there. If you think back, like sometimes we have accidents, like our hurricanes will wash trash onto the beaches and waterways, but other times it's just left there. I can't tell you how many beach cleanups I've done, and we pick up like little plastic sand toys that get buried, or things just break and people just leave them out there on the beach and think that they'll just go away. But they don't. Either somebody comes and picks it up or it goes into the ocean. So be mindful of where you're throwing your trash. Absolutely never ever litter. Also, boats and ships at sea, their ropes break, or their nets break, or they have accidents, or it just slips, and they don't go back for it, and there it goes. Now it's in the ocean, and tangling marine life potentially, or at the very least polluting the water. We're not going to do that one. Oof. This website uses the observed tracks and reveals by buoys to the Global Drifter program to generate models of plastic debris and how it spreads. So there are people actually out there testing how the plastic spreads. So satellite tracks the surface drifting of buoys observed of currents. I can't read the rest of that, but it's okay. Oh, there we go. Sea surface temperatures, atmospheric pressure, winds, and salinity, and they did all this and tracked all those buoys right there. So NOAA put out buoys and tracked where they went. And they found this Great Pacific Garbage Patch. So we talked about those gyri that we have. We have 5 major gyri: the North Pacific, South Pacific, North Atlantic, South Atlantic, and the Indian Ocean, where it's just that circular current. Now inside of that circular current, we actually get trash that is collected into those zones. We actually have 2 big patches out in the Pacific Ocean, the eastern and the western. And then there's some trash that gets passed around, and it'll pass the trash around from zone to zone, but it is not good. Many marine life will actually accidentally eat this. They get caught up in there. Fish are crazy. They actually will gather around this because they don't know what it is. So they'll gather at and around and underneath it to kind of try and figure out what it is. So they'll either eat it or just get tangled in it and end up dying. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch spans waters from the west coast of North America to Japan. And they actually did a study good for America, but a lot of this plastic isn't actually coming from America. It's coming from the Asian countries right there. But at any rate, it is affecting us because it is so close to our border right there, and the ocean is worldwide, so no matter what's in our ocean, it will impact another. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch was caused. About 80% of the garbage in there was from the land, 20% was from the sea. It's twice the size of Texas. It is 10 meters deep, full of trash. It weighs about 100 million tons. It's made up of plastic. It's like a plastic soup. For every 6 pounds of plastic, there are only 1 pound of zooplankton. So those primary producers, they're not primary producers, but primary consumers they're being impacted quite a lot because at the very least, the plastic is taking up the space. There are now 5 garbage patches worldwide, corresponding to our 5 gyri. I think that's where we're going to end it. There's more to these microplastics. We'll talk about them, and I'll tell you about lint maybe someday and how that is also microplastic impacting our hydrosphere. Alright, that was a lot of just fun fact for you with this marine plastic, but the very beginning of those were part This lecture was part of your notes, so make sure you take both pictures that you need. Have a great day. Goodbye.